Welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. I'm Rob Bear from SpikyBits.com, and today we're going to take a look, we're going to unbox and build, actually, the new Beast Snagga Orks Army Box set. Now, this is kind of an interesting offering because, well, it's so limited. A lot of folks could not get their hands on the stores here in the States, could only get 4 of these. I'm not sure how it is over in the UK. I didn't really speak to any of my contacts over there in the UK or Europe. Just been pretty busy this week, unfortunately. But some people checked in from Australia and New Zealand, and it looks like they're only getting 1 each of these over there, which is a little frustrating, for a lot of people because it's hard to get this content, and it is basically a paywall, an early access paywall to get the Ork rules. Now, of course, you can find them all online everywhere already. People have reviewed them, people have screenshotted them, people have done all these crazy spreadsheets and all this stuff, and it's an amazing community out there. If you need to find something, you definitely can. But today we're not gonna talk about the drama with it all. I'd love to talk about it. We've talked about it in the past. You can go back and look at our Indominus videos. You can go back and look at our Dominion videos. I want to try to be a little bit more upbeat in this because unboxing and building is kind of our bread and butter, and I love getting my hands on the new kits and doing that stuff. So we're gonna take a closer look at this. A little bit at the Army book, a little bit at the Army cards, but give you an ideas of value, show you the sprues, and build at least all of these right here, I would think. So the new Army box retails for $200, and that kind of seems like a lot, but when you think about it, it may be, wow, that's the double raw bears across the sky right there. I don't know what to do about that. It's value-wise, there is value in here, and we did the value breakdown over on the site. Of course, I compared it to Sisters of Battle, and a lot of people, myself included, were like, man, these allocations really stink, these caps really stink. But way back in Black Friday 2019, if you can remember back that far, it seems like time doesn't matter anymore, right? The Sisters of Battle box set was allocated to 8 per store. So GW actually given 4 of the Ork ones per store, at least here in the States. Doesn't seem that unreasonable given the times, the supply chain stresses, the COVID, all that stuff that's happening right now in the world. And the value ended up being about $305. Now, what I didn't like about this kit at the time was it was push fit, and that was cool, but there was a lot of split squad stuff in here that didn't quite make much sense. And then the new rumor is, of course, that this half of the box with the miniatures for Sisters is going to be the new Combat Patrol. Whatever, none of that has to do with Orks today, except for just take a look at the value, 305, savings of 105, right? And that was, of course, early access to get the Codex, get the Army cards, because the Sisters eventually came out in February of 2020, which, was kind of when things got crazy. Anyway, so the Beast Snagga Army box is here. It has a similar value, and a lot of people were like, wow, do you really think these, these Beast Snagga boys are going to be like 50 and 60 bucks for these kits? And my response is yes, I do. GW has slowly been creeping the price up of troops over the past, year or two. I mean, if you look at AdMech, they're $42. Guard, $45 now, right? Sisters, $60. I don't know what Firstborn Marines are. I forgot to check that one. But if I had to guess, I would say they're around $45. We know Primaris is $60. So these guys being valued at about $5 each from Games Workshop, the Beast Snagga boys, doesn't seem too far-fetched, at least in my mind. And if you put them at that, the values here actually start to very much mirror that Sisters of Battle Army box. So Zograd's probably going to be about 35. The Knob on Smash the Squig, maybe 45, comparing him to the Primaris captain. The Squig Hog boys, comparing them to Outriders, of course, $60. Bomb Squig is probably part of this kit. 20 Beast Snagga boys are probably going to come in squads of 10, and they're probably going to be anywhere from $50 to $60. That's probably where our variance in this price compared to the sister box is. But that's really hard to kind of peg down because we don't know what GW is going to value them at. If you didn't need as many of the models, it's likely that they would price them at $60. But you do. They're Orks, let's be honest. There's 3 true choices in their book, and one of them kind of, it's grats. So $50 might not be unheard of because everybody's going to want multiple boxes. So they know they're going to make their money on the back end through quantity, right? So that's just an estimate. The Codex probably going to be $50. The data cards probably 25. And we'll show you the data cards here. They won't quite mirror what's going to come out when the actual release hits. And I'm sure there's going to be dice and stuff too. So now what I didn't put on this article that I just thought about, just talking about this, is once you subtract out this $75 from the price of $200, you get $125. So your average price of the 26 miniatures, remember there's 26 because of the little bomb squig duder, you get around $5 a miniature. So you're already, this box is, you know, you can break it down any way you want on your costs and things, but the average cost of the miniature in this box, once you subtract out the books and the data cards, which have an established value, it could be around $5 already. So now, yeah, it takes into account, hey, this three kit is $60 right here and stuff like that, and it doesn't make that much sense. But once you do it as a whole, it tends to make more sense. So I'm really strongly thinking that this is going to be the price when they are released separately, and this is the value, which also mirrors the Sisters of Battle Army box. So I won't lie to you, I already opened this up and took a quick look at it, and layout wise I'm actually kind of impressed with it, because I do like how they kind of have everything, you know, expertly kind of laid out right here as far as the sprues go. And then they have the little cover art things in here, which we've seen in the past in bigger sets, to protect the book and the instruction manual, which is a really important detail that I think was really cool that GW realized. This one has 2 of them in here, I guess on mistake, which is kind of cool, bonus. And then on the back, it's just the same thing with the little UPC card, because remember when they assemble this, they beep and boop everything to make sure it's all in there. There's the Orc Army cards, and then here's the Codex with the instruction manual, and I think that's all that comes in here. Now I would like to point out the fact that this is made in China, so the books and some of the components in this set are made in China. I don't know whether they assemble them in the UK or the US at this point, but when you look at the book or the box, of course, they just say straight up made in the UK. Now, I know there's a caveat about that, where at least here in the States, you can import components, but if you assemble them here, you know, completely in the States, then you can say it is made in the US. So that looks like perhaps something that ports over to the UK as well. I don't know. I'm not a legalologist when it comes to imports and exports. I can only look at the information I have in front of me, and this is indeed produced in China, which would lead me to believe that this is also produced in China, but it doesn't quite say it. But all that aside, and then you're going to get the bases and everything here, and that is it. So let's take a closer look at all of this. Here's the book, and it's really nice. It's got a nice soft kind of cover, very, very cool, that really works out well. And in the back here, they have a reference glossary. It's 135 pages. And what I really like about it is they have an homage to the was that 4th edition, 3rd edition Orc book, I think, Codex cover right there. So that was really cool to see. A lot of stuff in here, and we've covered a lot of it, but rules-wise, over on the site, you can probably find a lot of this where we break down and give you our thoughts. You know, over half of the book is actually rules, including Crusade rules, which is really cool to see. So pretty neat there. On to the War Gear cards, or the actual data cards themselves. I don't know what the deal is with this, but I mean, they're laid out pretty well, and they got, you know, a little bit of like graphic cool stuff in the background, but the backs are all pretty much the same until you get up to the Psychic right here, and then these are all different. So I mean, they're okay, and this is kind of like their norm these days. But I do remember a time when, you know, all the backs had different backings, and all the fronts had different depending on what they were, and those were kind of nice. Onto the instructions themselves, there's a bunch of different size and bases in here. So it looks like the knob on Smash the Squig is going to come on a 90 mil, and then the Squig Herd boys are going to come on 75 mil ovals. Then you got a 50 mil right here for Zogrid, it looks like, 35s for the boys, and then 125, I guess, for the Bomb Squig. I suppose we'll find out when we get to that. So here's Zogrid right here, which, you know, doesn't look too bad, I suppose, as far as, you know, any special character goes. They do that whole like clamshell sort of thing to give them 3-dimensional look and depth to it, which I can definitely appreciate. It is sliced. These aren't easy to build. They are, you know, aka push fit. They are easier to build, where you've got these slices with a lot of nubs and things like that lock in and give you a better idea of where they go. Everything looks fine from this. Looks like you put the ammo on there, and then the Gravel Claw is going to have that 3-dimensional look to it too. And then it looks like his hair, pieces of his hair are some of the last things to go on right there. Pretty interesting. Beast Snagga boys have a few options, it looks like. So you can make the Beast Snagga knob or a Beast Snagga boy, depending on how many you're going to put in your squad right there. So both of those are available. And then you've got the, what is this, the Thump Gun, the new one. So you can take the one upgrade if you want, or you can just give them a Choppa. All these guys come with Choppa Sluggas. And that's pretty much it. There isn't much variety from there. Again, you can see they're pretty much the easier to build, where you've got a front and right half, and then you just kind of put the arms on, and maybe a random shoulder pad here and there, maybe a head here and there, but either way they go together pretty well, it looks like. And then there's your 20-mans on the back. But remember, it's literally 2 sets of these sprues, so no big deal there. The knob on Smasher Squig's kind of interesting. I'm sure everybody has something to say about the gray white squig. I kind of want a gray white squig. So if you're gonna paint a gray white squig up and he looks dope, hit me up about it. Maybe I'll buy him off you. I don't know. He just looks cool, and I like cool minis, even if I don't even play Orks, and just put them in the case. To oogle and ah. Anyways, so traditional kind of inside hollow area here, left and right half, kind of looks like a kind of a shrunk down head like orc, and it kind of spread out more like almost like an Ogren here, but definitely got some dinosaur kind of looks to it with this armored plate here. I forget which one they would ram each other. That was their whole point. They would just, I guess goats do it too at some point. But what I really like about this is the variation to it. So you can do this this robot leg, this bionic leg here, or you can take these 2 different torsos depending on what you want to do. Actually, it does, yeah, they are 2 different torsos, it looks like. And depending on what you want to do right here, and then they give you the instructions on which ones to use, you can kind of have this head kind of thumping forward, or just kind of like moving at a fast rate. So, maybe you want to do a diorama with that. That'd be cool. But either way, you can have a little bit more variance here. And speaking of variance, let's look at the knob here. So you got 2 different little icons you can put on top of the banner poles, 2 different heads. Looks like one has a mohawk on it. That's kind of cool. And then you've got 2 different weapons. I think he has the same weapons regardless, but you can have him with the pistol, and then his, I don't even know what that is, crazy buzzsaw thing on the back. And then he's with the pistol in the air, point blank style, or he can be have his weapon in the air. But what I didn't notice on these instructions was where to put the pistol. So I guess if you take it this way, you have to put they didn't really show that. So I guess you put the pistol on his belt somewhere. I don't know. I'm sure we can figure it out. Or maybe we can't. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Squig Hog boys, they look to be, just from the instructions, a little bit smaller. But I think they look pretty cool. So this guy has a little orc duder on the back. And then looks like left and right halves. This goes together pretty much the same as the Smash Squig. And then you've got this dude hanging off. I think this was the one they showed the most on all the previews and stuff. Left and right half of the body right here starts getting that all assembled, and then he's got a spear. I don't even know what these guys are armed with. I got to look at their stats. I love this one here with the little motorbike back to him. I don't know which one we're going to build yet, but the fact that it has a little smoke or a little dust cloud going on it is pretty hilarious. I love that. And then last but certainly not least, they have the little bomb squig duder right here that I guess goes off and does bomb squig things. So let's take a closer look at the sprues now. We'll start off with Zogwart right here, a very interesting and dynamic upgrade sprue right here. So he's got a lot of real estate as far as plastic wise, but all his stuff looks to be on one plane. So you will have to do a little bit of flash and trim removal, but other than that, I mean, it looks pretty simple. Just a lot of halves kind of sandwiched all together, very little extraneous parts except for the barrel or the ammo drum that goes right in there on his Slugga. So keep an eye out for that one. Next up, we'll do the Squig Hog boys, because these guys are very similar to what we saw with the Outriders, except they are not easy to build. So these are not push fit kits. They're just easier to build. So you're going to get 3 squad size sprues in that box there. Now again, they're all pretty much on the same plane, meaning that yes, you are going to have to do a little bit of flash removal because everything is going to be coming off like that. And they all go together, front and left, side and side, sort of halves. There's going to be like, a few points and nubs and things to line them up, but for the most part, you're going to want to dry fit a lot of this. But the details, super sharp and crisp. I mean, from the scaling and everything like that, the actual kits to the stickers, and I guess these little guys that hang on there are called saddle gits. Pretty interesting stuff. Didn't quite know what that was all about. Oh, actually, I might have misspoke. Yep, I sure did. Shows what I know. Some hobby expert. So this is actually the knob on Smash a Squig. So you're only going to get 2 in the Squig Hog Boys. This is the knob on Smash a Git, or Smash a Squig. Now this is its own fast attack choice, believe it or not. He's not an HQ. I mean, there's enough stuff at HQ in the Elite at this point. I don't think anybody's going to quite complain. And then this is just a big choppa as far as weapons go. I looked it up. So, but there's 2 different ones: the loose one and the full one, depending on how you want to arm your particular guy here. So lots of room for variation if if that's your thing. The back halves are going to be the same and the front halves are going to be varied depending on what head you want to put on there. So make sure what pose. It's the same head, but what pose if you want them ramming or if you want them just kind of like moving fast. I want to go fast. I want to go fast. But the rest of the detail looks great on here. Again, it's not easy to build. It is easier to build, I guess, is basically the way. And then there's 2 of these identical sprues of the Beast Snagga boys. They literally get 10 models per the sprue because there's not a lot of variations. You don't get Slugga Choppa. You do get Slugga Choppa. You don't get Shoota. So there is one thump gun somewhere on the sprue, I'm sure. I just haven't quite seen it yet. That you can put in there. But I mean, they all look pretty dope. I mean, super crisp detail. They got these crazy looking, choppas, not the old traditional choppas that we're all used to. Everything looks good as far as that goes. So very, very interesting that this is only 2 squad size sprues. So if it does end up being $50 or $55 or even $60 for this kit, compared to Primaris, it kind of makes sense in GW money. And here's Zogwart. So he is a chonker for sure. This is a 50 mil base, believe it or not. And he's got a lot going on this miniature. I mean, the detail looks great. The only thing, that's slightly out of place is perhaps you want to drill out that Slugga. But other than that, I mean, it's super dynamic. I mean, look at this thing. So much posing, so much, motion, assumed motion and things. He's even like, that's my voice for him. See, that's my voice. But if I was going to field this guy, definitely going to paint him up. And remember, too, for all this area around here, use some of that Liquitex resin sand because it'll blend the terrain elements of plastic into the base a little bit better than just being quite obvious right here. And then I don't know if this is GW's play to make you use your textured paint, but you don't necessarily have to. Comparing him to other miniatures out there. So there's a Primaris Marine. So he stands, I mean, if you're standing up, I guess they're both kind of crouching down. So they both be about the same size. So he definitely is Primaris-ish. And then a Death Corpsman for Forge World. Well, you get the idea there. Definitely the sizing is about right. For the Beast Snagga boys, these came out pretty well. This is the boy version of the knob, and then here's the knob right here that you can build out of the same kit, basically. Same torso options and such, I believe. I don't know. I don't even remember at this point. But you can see he's got a lot going on. Very, very well detailed. Go together great. All the seams and everything are pretty well hid. Sometimes there might be a little bit of a gap, but if you use a little of that super thin Tamiya glue, you'll probably not have any issues with that. I was just going kind of fast to get these assembled. And then the normal boy, I wanted to do that thump gun thing because I thought it was really cool. It just looks like a kind of an Orky blunderbuss sort of thing. Definitely don't want to be on the receiving end of that. But very, very cool. You can definitely tell these are computer designed at this point because there's a lot of raw edges and things, but they're not un-Orky in any way, definitely. But I do like all the shape, and the scaling seems to be pretty good. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to appreciate these and the new boys themselves because they just look so much more better than those dated ones back from 2005, 2004. I don't even remember at this point. But they're very, very cool looking and definitely going to be intimidating on the tabletop. Squighog Riders. These guys are really cool. They're a little bit smaller, I guess, than what I was picturing them in my mind. I guess the knob was kind of more what I was expecting, and I'll show you that here in a second. But this is the one we saw all the previews for and everything like that. You definitely recognize him. He's got his cool looking sticker with a little rocket. I guess it's a rocket propelled sticker. There you go. Use a little bit of blue tack to put him on here because you're definitely going to want to paint these guys separate. Oop, he's about to go. He's like, I'm leaving. He's got his little saddle get on there doing saddle get things, but you can see he definitely, it's very easy to just kind of tack them on and paint them separately if you really, care about such things and getting all your paint jobs right. Assembly wise, you barely see the gaps. GW, it does really good when it comes to all of this. In the back, you're definitely going to want to use some super thin Tamiya glue or just any super thin glue in general, just so you get those gaps sealed up. And then size wise, here's how they compare to, give you an actual sizing, to a Primaris Space Marine. So they are bigger than a Primaris Space Marine, but I think once we compare him to this knob right here, you'll kind of see what I was saying. Like the knob is actually on a smaller base, which I guess would be good for combat and such. But then these guys, or did I do that wrong? I might have done that wrong. Yes, strike that, reverse that. That's why this looks so weird to me, because again, some hobby expert, right? This model is not on the right base. It's supposed to, whoops, he's supposed to be on this base. So that being said, that explains why the scale was a little off to me and why this looks so much bigger. But now that we know, because I only had time to get one of these together for you guys to show you in this video, now that we know, I'm sure all of that, visual weirdness, I guess, will clear up. So I apologize for that in this video. Sometimes we get this stuff and, it takes like 2 hours to go and drive and get everything all done and ready for you all on the weekend in my free time, which I try to have a lot of. Sometimes things go sideways. Sometimes the train comes off the rails, y'all. But we're here, we're doing it, we're getting it done. This guy just looks so dope and so fresh. And like I said, you can do the ramming head with this different front neck, or you can just have him kind of like this, like where he's going fast. And we did the choppa version up here, which I think is pretty dope. Didn't really go with the point blank gun shooting in the air, but yeah, he's very, very cool. I love this guy. I think he's got a lot of cool stuff going on, and now that we've cleared up the little base snafu, that makes a lot more sense, because this guy definitely lines up a lot better on here, and this guy lines up a lot better on here, and will not trick your eye into thinking things are weird like it just did for me. So where does that leave us? Well, again, I encourage everybody to vote with your hobby dollars. If you weren't able to get this, perhaps if you can't get it from your local store, obviously you're gonna be sold out and at a premium. This stuff is all gonna come out separate at some point, hopefully where you can continue to support your local store if you choose to do so. Obviously, if it is for you, make sure you hop on to one of the websites and pick it up and add it to your collection here in July. So Orks in July, what a treat. What a time to be alive. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching our unbox and build of the new Beast Snagga Orks for Warhammer 40k. Hopefully there'll be more of these guys coming out. Super excited for the new Death Corps as well. Commando box. And of course, we know there's a lot more Orks on the way too. Can't wait to get my hands on that kill rig and see how we can magnetize it to build both versions. So again, thank you much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can be the very first to like and comment on all our videos.